Hi guys, and welcome back to Svetlana's Corner. I have a pretty cool video for you. So this was on my mind for a while because a lot of you were asking about it, and so finally I got a chance to make it. So today we're going to talk about phone and email etiquette in prison. And no, it's not about what dish to serve, what fork goes with what. It's what to do, what not to do when it comes to phones, emails, and all kinds of correspondence. So if this is the video you'd like to see, make sure you click that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Okay, let's go.
I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
So first of all, I want to make sure that you hear me on this one. It's very important. In prisons, everything you say, whether it's on the phone, whether it is in an email, whether it is on a handwritten letter, all of that is not private. So again, let me reiterate that. In prison, please remember to watch everything you say on the phone, everything that goes into your emails, everything that goes into your letters. All correspondence is read, listened, and seen by others, from guards to companies that may process these letters or emails, and of course, even by other inmates. There is zero expectation of privacy in prisons. So everything can be used against both parties. And by that, I mean it could be used against you and it could be used against him or her. So please make sure you watch for that. So of course, there's different rules in each prison. Those rules will vary between federal prison to state prison to jails. It will vary from one facility to another. However, I'm not going to go into that here. I do have a video on federal versus state, and you can watch that one. Right here today, we're only talking about the do's and don'ts. So we're going to talk about the phone. So the do's and don'ts. When it comes to the phone, three-way calling, don't ever, and I'm going to give you a little story of my own. When I didn't know, because I was new to the prison wife life, I remember that Kenyon actually was the one that called me. We were talking and I actually got a new phone, so I upgraded to a new phone. I was throwing out my old one because it was not even working. I barely dialed. But anyway, he was saying something and I thought, I grabbed my phone and I was going to type the notes on my phone, just notes, so I don't have to handwrite it. I just wanted to type out notes so I would remember what he said, because this was important information. And it clicks when you type, and all of a sudden the phone went dead. And I thought, hey, he hung up on me. That was something. I thought something happened with their phones. He called me back right away, about a minute or so. He called me back. And I said, oh, I think your phone died there. And he said, no, it's not. It's just I could hear the phone clicking. Please don't do that. And yeah, I was actually really surprised. I'm thinking, what did I do? And he says, yeah, it can come off as three-way calling. And so when they hear three-way calling, they will disconnect the call and you can lose privileges. You can lose phone privileges for a time limit. You can lose them permanently. There could be severe consequences. Yeah, I didn't know that. And like I said, I wasn't calling anybody. I was just typing up notes on an old phone just as a document. But something that I've learned, never, ever, three-way, no way. So anything in prison they see as related to safety and security. They will say that all the time, for the safe and orderly running of the institution. I get sick of that statement, but that is something that they see all the time. So when you're talking about anything to do that can damage or risk safety and security, they will flag that. So if you have anything like a phone app or speakers. I know I have a Google speaker, and sometimes I'm talking and my Google speaker will kick in. I got to remember this. So some states still do not allow you to have a phone app. They don't allow you to put your phone on speaker. So if they hear anybody in the background, your call can be disconnected. It's not always like that, and they're getting more lenient on it, realizing that well, people have Google speakers, etc. But just be careful on that one. So if you're on your phone, if you have a Alexa or Siri or Google speaker, maybe turn that off and be careful who's in the room, because they will disconnect that call. And I've had that happen too. So that's from my personal experience. Anything to do with locations is a big one. Again, that goes with the safety and security. So if you have a loved one who is transferring or anything like that, anything mentioned about location, this will get flagged due to escape plans. And again, here's a story from my own time. I am in Canada. So I was talking to my guy about stuff. I was telling him, you know what, outside on the street, there's this sign by the school, etc. And they actually ended that call. They did end that call. I had to contact the company. It was IC Solutions and sort that out. They flagged it for escape plans. Now he's in United States. I'm in Canada. There's no escape going on there. But when you mention anything like where you are, any landmarks, any locations, it flags it as possible escape plans. So watch for that one. So I know I repeated this enough, but I'm gonna do it again. Everything is recorded or read. So whether it is in writing or on the phone, do not use names of other inmates or staff. If you ever notice that everybody in prison usually has a nickname for that very reason. You cannot tell on somebody else when you don't even know their names. That's how it happens. So don't use somebody's name. Don't use the staff's name or the inmate's name. So number one, it's not anybody's business. It's not. So anybody's business, other couples, other activities, anything like that, it's not your business anyway. But let's say you're talking about something, just watch when you talk about somebody else, because it will flag that. If you mention another staff, they're listening to it. If you mention another inmate, it could put your person in dangerous situation. It could put that other inmate into a dangerous situation. It's not a good idea altogether. Definitely do not talk about an open case, whether it is your loved one's case or anybody else's case. I know that we've actually tested this out. We said some information that really did not exist, not even possible about a case. And sure enough, it was brought up by a DA. It was brought up in a situation, and we had to laugh about it because that's not even possible. I think it was something like a monkey at the zoo might have done it. So even something as ridiculous as that, we've tested that somebody on that side is listening, and anything about his case, her case, anybody's case can be used against every person. So definitely anything about an open case. Now, watch for certain words, especially such as rape. I don't know if YouTube's going to allow me this, so let me rephrase it. When you are talking on the phone, or especially in emails or letters, watch the word that rhymes with grape. Anything to do with gangs, drugs, weapons, escape, sex, any words like that are flagged. So if you ever have an email and those words are in there, your email might get flagged for content, for safety and security, all of that stuff. So those words are always flagged on the phone, in letters, always. So definitely anything like that. Anything that's illegal or flag worthy, I'm going to say. So from contraband to co-defendants, corruption, lawsuits, any of those will get flagged for sure. Any illegal activities will be flagged. And by flagged, I mean your email at best case will just get flagged and they'll tell you that it can't be received by the other party, or you can be banned. You can be banned from communication for a long time and possibly from ever, or you can actually end up with charges. So just again, really watch for that. So again, any conversation, including mail, as in actual handwritten mail, can be used against anybody, even if it's not true. So let's say your loved one gets a letter from you and you put a joke in there saying, you know what, you raped me. He can get charged for that. It's going to be a really long road for you to explain that this was a joke, or this was not meant, or it never happened. Why start that? So again, it can be used. Definitely could be used against your loved one and against you, of course, too. Because when you say I didn't actually mean it, well, now you can get perjury charges too. So it's long explanation, just very, very, very cautionary tale here. A lot of people have been there, and yeah, that's not a fun one. So I know we've recently been going through a pandemic and maybe still going through it. Whichever way you look at it, it's 2022 right now. Anything about COVID, watch what you say, because I've had my letters flagged when I said the word COVID. I was just saying something as simple as I saw somebody having a COVID mask. Just because anything that's contagious, you can have your loved one thrown in the hole, which is solitary confinement, because there is a whole pandemic going on. And so if there's any suspicion that he or she might be exposed to COVID, they'll go in the hole. During testing, or just as a precautionary, it's sad that an illness can put you into a hole, or suspicion of an illness can put you in the hole. But be careful when you use COVID as well. Anything that is, let's say, a little naughty, sometimes they let that through, and sometimes they will stop it. Now, on the other side of this, again, remember that your mail or your conversations are not exclusive between you and your partner. So when you are writing a really juicy letter, when you're sending a really juicy letter by email, when you're talking on the phone, there's somebody that's reading it and listening to it. I mean, if you're okay with it, you're okay with it. But if you feel self-conscious, well, this is the time to feel self-conscious. And I know that sometimes they hire inmates to do some of the work on the phone calls, on the mailroom, and all that kind of stuff. So it could be another inmate listening to it, or at the very least, it's the guards that look through all your correspondence. So definitely, they will be reading all those juicy stories. And like I said, if you are the shy person, here's a little warning for you. So now that we mentioned that brings me to photos. Again, when you send photos in mail, again, follow the rules of the facility. Every facility is different. They will have a rule about how many pages you can send in a letter. They will have a rule about how many photos you can send in the letter. They will also have a rule about what can be done with photos. Some are very picky. They want nothing at all. Like, I'm wearing a sleeveless dress. This will be blocked in some facilities. And some just want the naughty parts covered. You can put little hearts, little stickers, smiley faces over certain areas, and they'll let that through. So it depends on that facility specifically, that state. So you want to check those rules for sure. But again, when you send that, it's not like you write the letter or you take those photos and then your loved one gets them in the envelope. That envelope is opened. Those photos are looked at by the guards that are in there. If you're using Gmail, I have a video on that one, but I actually use Gmail. So the Gmail people will get to see those pictures, but besides that, like I said, guards definitely will look at every single picture. And I know I've seen situations where they actually comment on those pictures to the women, to the guys, and it is what it is. And of course, if there's other inmates around, or if he's got those pictures, somebody can see that picture. If you really trust your person, I know I trust my person very much, but we're very cautious about when we send pictures, because I send them pictures of the kids. And he's got my picture put up. I know that because I made it into a calendar. He loves calendar kind of idea. So he's got my picture on the wall, but he doesn't have the kids' pictures on the wall because there's some people with certain charges and he doesn't want them seeing those pictures. So again, just making sure you know that sometimes pictures can be stolen as well. There are people that sell pictures in prison. I'm not going into that topic, but just be very cautious when you send pictures. So my rule of thumb, no matter what you do, is err on the side of caution. That's not just a prison thing, that's the life lesson here. So be careful what you're doing, because everything can and will be used against you. It's just the way it is. So when it comes to prison, be very careful what you say on the phone. Be careful when you say to a CO or to whoever is answering that phone call. Be careful what you say online. Be careful what you say about someone. Definitely be careful with everything that comes from you to your loved one and vice versa. And again, let me reiterate that there is zero privacy. So everything that you say is heard and seen by others. So I'm sorry, this is a bit of a negative video in a way, but I just want to give you guys that caution, because sometimes we forget and it feels like that call is just between the two of you, or that heartfelt letter and those really cute, sexy pictures are just for your loved one. But just remember that other people are in your business, because that is prison. That is the way it's run. So for the safety and security, for every other reason, sometimes for very ridiculous reasons, but please be very careful for you and for him or her, for your loved one, because you don't want to put yourself at risk. You don't want to put them at risk. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them as much as I know from my own experience. And I've had a few years dealing with that part of the system. So that's it for today, and I hope I see you at the next one. Have a good one.